Guys, as promised, pumpkins are everywhere. It's Halloween. I'm going to show you how to create a perfect pumpkin soup au potiron, if you know your classical French soups. We're going to use squash and pumpkin, some orange, some vanilla and some fresh ginger to give this soup a really good autumnal taste. Health benefits, ginger, turmeric, it's all going to be in there. A great boost for your immune system. Let's make this soup. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to take some peelings off to make some nice crispy parsnip crisps, and we're doing this for the garnish for our soup. All we're going to do is we're going to heat some oil up to about 150 degrees and we're going to fry these until they're nice and crispy for our garnish. So there we go, guys. Just a wee bit of vegetable oil, and we're going to fry up pumpkin slices, shavings, until they're nice and crispy, and that'll take about 3 or 4 minutes. So that's our pumpkin crisps. We're just going to let these sit on some kitchen towel, and what we're going to do is we're going to season these with salt straight away, as you would with any crisp. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to start taking some slices off the squash, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn these into cubes, and I want the cubes for my garnish. So what we're doing, guys, is we're just cubing off some pumpkin for our garnish. In my competition days, I'll be using a ruler to do this to make sure they're all exactly the same size and symmetrical, but today I'm just using my fingers to give me a good edge, and I'm looking for about 2 centimeter cubes. Okay then, guys, that's the squash prepped for garnish. I've peeled the whole thing. I'm now just going to remove the seeds, and what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to keep these seeds, we're going to wash them off, and we're going to roast them. I'm going to toss them in a little bit of white truffle oil, and I'm going to roast them in a hot oven, 180 degrees, for 5 minutes, and this is going to form part of my garnish as well. That's the seeds going into the oven, 180 degrees, 5 minutes. So there we go, guys, that's the toasted pumpkin seeds. 5 minutes, 180 degrees, they're nice and crispy, and they're just starting to talk to me and starting to pop. So there we have it, that's all the squash diced up. Doesn't really matter how you dice it, as long as it's roughly all the same size, so it'll cook evenly. We've got our butter melting, and all we're going to do now is going to give the squash a sweat in the butter. So what I've done, guys, is I've peeled some nice fresh ginger. I've just chopped that roughly, and we're now going to add the fresh ginger into the pan as well and get that sweating with the squash. We're going to take one beautiful vanilla pod. This is the game changer, guys. So all we do is we stick it straight down the middle, like so. We open it up. Then we just scrape all those seeds out, like so. Those go into the pan. Straight into the pan, that wonderful fresh vanilla pod. And I'm just going to put the pod in there as well. Split that in two. I'm going to get the pod in there and let that all sweat together to get that beautiful, amazing vanilla in there. The smell, guys, is amazing as the ginger and vanilla are all sweating together with the squash. Okay, guys, what I'm doing now is I'm going to take some oranges, and I'm going to take some segments from these oranges for my garnish, but I'm also going to use 3 oranges for their juice. That's to flavour the soup, and my date puree. So I'm going to squeeze now 3 large oranges for their juice, which we're going to need for our soup and for our date puree. Okay, guys, what we're going to do now is going to make our date puree. So I've got the chopped dates in a pan. I'm just going to cover those with some freshly squeezed orange juice, and I'm going to keep those until they're really soft and I can blend those down to make a wonderful date puree. Okay, that's the squash all nicely sweated with the vanilla pods and the fresh ginger. I'm now going to add my orange juice, about 150 mils, and I'm going to add in 300 mils of chicken stock. That's freshly homemade chicken stock this morning. I'm going to cook that out for about 15 minutes. Right, that's the date puree. What I've done is I've cooked that right down and I just blended that with a hand blender. What I'm going to do now is, it's got all those lovely sweet date notes. I wanted to make it a bit more sour, so I'm just going to give it a splash of balsamic vinegar, and that'll enhance the colour and it'll also give me the sweet and sour that I'm looking for my puree. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to pass the sweet and sour date puree through a fine sieve so I've got an extra smooth puree. Okay, so that's the soup now. That's been cooking for about 10 to 15 minutes with the fresh ginger and vanilla pod. I'm now just going to add some double cream, and I'm going to continue cooking that down for 5 minutes before blitzing and passing. So to finish off my garnish, the pumpkin and squash cubes that we prepared earlier, I'm just going to blanch those in boiling salted water for about 3 to 4 minutes until they become nice and soft. Okay, that's the squash soup all prepared. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to blitz everything together, including the vanilla pod. They're such an expensive commodity at this moment in time. I want to incorporate all that flavour of the ginger, the vanilla, the cream and the squash. So there's the blended pumpkin, vanilla, orange and ginger soup. The smells are driving me insane. And for an extra smooth soup, we're going to pass this through a fine sieve, just like the sweet and sour date puree. That's going to give us an extra smooth soup. Then after we passed it, we're going to check it for seasoning. I'm not going to tell you how much seasoning to put in, guys. I want you to learn how to season your own food. I've got a feeling this will just need a touch of orange juice and a little bit more salt, and it'll be absolutely perfect. Right, we're ready to plate up this wonderful bowl of pumpkin soup. So there we go. I've just put a nice dab of the puree in there on the plate, like so. And I'm now going to place in the cubes of squash, just like so. We're now going to put in some of the wonderful squash crisps, just like so, onto your plate. They're going to give a really nice crispy texture when you're eating your soup. We're now going to add some of the orange segments, just like so, into the bowl. You see, guys, it's got wonderful colours in there. Everything's coming together really nicely. We're then going to garnish with some of the toasted pumpkin seeds, just like so. There we go. We're going to add some more of this wonderful date puree. Just like so. We're going to place on some small leaf of fresh parsley, just like so. And there we have it, guys. An amazing bowl of soup ready to pour. So all we do is we take it round to one side, guys, just like so, and we pour in our amazing squash, vanilla, ginger and orange soup from the side, just like so. And there we have it, guys. My beautiful Halloween autumnal soup, ready for that special occasion at Halloween, or just for that wonderful fine dine experience at this time of year, using the most amazing squash and pumpkins that are everywhere at the moment. Bon appetit. Right, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. For me, I make these videos to make some family memories with my children, so they've got something to look back on. But more importantly, for any young chef who's out there at the moment struggling because of the current climate that we're in with coronavirus and the hospitality industry getting absolutely hammered. If there's any young chefs out there who are struggling with their learning, please get in touch. I'd love to offer you video tutorials, meetings via Zoom, via Skype, via Teams. We can go through things together. I'll quite happily mentor. A lot of my chef friends will do exactly the same. Don't give up on this industry, guys. You know, it's a lifetime of achievements, a lifetime of awards. They can all be yours. And for Mr. Johnson, Boris, we need a Minister for Hospitality in the UK at this moment in time. Please make that happen. You know, thousands of young talented chefs are going to get lost in this, and we can't afford that to happen. Please, please, please make that appointment and save our hospitality.